All right, buckle up, everyone, because today's deep dive is going to be a wild ride through the heart of Indonesian politics. We're talking about President Subianto's brand spanking new cabinet, fresh off the press.
Oh yeah, this is big news. We're talking about the team that's going to shape Indonesia's future for the next 5 years.
Kabinet Merah Putih, he's calling it. And let me tell you, the lineup is full of surprises. We're diving deep into the power dynamics, the fresh faces, and what it all means for Indonesia's future.
You've got to hand it to him. Subianto's not afraid to shake things up a bit. We're seeing a real mix of seasoned players and some unexpected newcomers.
Exactly. And that's what makes analyzing these appointments so fascinating. It's like trying to decipher a secret code, looking for clues about Subianto's priorities and his vision for the country.
It's all about power and influence, my friend. Who's got the president's ear? Who's going to be calling the shots on the economy, security, education? These appointments give us some major hints.
Okay, so for those of you just joining us, let's break it down. We're talking about the Indonesian cabinet, which is basically like the president's team of advisors and decision makers.
Think of it like this. The coordinating ministers, they're the captains of the ship. They oversee entire chunks of the government, like the economy or social welfare. They're the ones with the president's ear setting the big picture strategy.
And then you've got the ministers, who are more like the department heads. They're responsible for specific areas like education, transportation, you name it.
Right. And when you see a brand new face in one of those minister roles, well, that's when things get really interesting.
It's like, okay, what's this person all about? What kind of changes are they going to bring to the table? It's these new appointments that really get people talking.
Absolutely. A new minister can mean a whole new direction for a ministry, a whole new set of priorities.
Exactly. So where do we even begin with all of this? Well, we thought we'd start with the heavy hitters, the coordinating ministers. These are the folks who will be leading the charge on President Subianto's key priorities.
And trust me, some of these appointments are raising eyebrows.
First up, we've got Budi Gunawan as coordinating minister for political, legal, and security affairs. Now, Gunawan is a familiar face in Indonesian politics, right?
Oh, absolutely. He's a seasoned security official, long history in the police force, intelligence agencies, you name it. This is a guy who knows the security landscape inside and out.
So what's that tell us about Subianto's approach to security in this new term?
Well, it suggests that Subianto is not taking any chances when it comes to national security. He's putting someone with experience and a firm hand in charge.
Yeah, definitely sending a message with that appointment. Okay, let's move on to another big one. Yusril Idza Mahendra at Law, Human Rights, Immigration, and Corrections. Now, Mahendra's a bit of a different story, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Mahendra's a fascinating character. He's a prominent legal scholar, a constitutional law expert, and a bit of a political maverick.
So, someone with a deep understanding of the law. Seems like a good fit for that role, right? But I have a feeling there's more to it than meets the eye.
You're absolutely right. Mahendra is known for speaking his mind, for challenging the status quo. It'll be fascinating to see how he approaches issues like human rights and judicial reform in this new role.
Definitely one to watch. All right, now let's talk about the economy. Everybody wants to know who's going to be steering the ship when it comes to money matters. And it looks like we've got a familiar face in charge. Erlangga Hartarto, back for another round as coordinating minister for economic affairs. This isn't his first rodeo, is it?
Nope, not at all. Hartarto held the same position in the previous administration. So he's walking in with a wealth of experience, already familiar with the challenges and opportunities facing the Indonesian economy.
So a steady hand on the economic tiller. But I have a feeling President Subianto also isn't afraid to shake things up a bit, especially when we look at some of the new faces stepping into minister roles for the first time. Are you ready to dive into that list?
Absolutely. This is where things get really exciting. New perspectives, new approaches. It's like a breath of fresh air in the halls of government.
Let's start with Abdul Muti, the new Minister of Education, Basic and Secondary. Now, this is a fascinating one because he's not a career politician.
Exactly. Muti comes from within the education system. He's a respected educator and administrator with years of experience on the ground.
So someone who actually understands the challenges and opportunities within the education system firsthand. I'm curious to see what kind of impact that practical experience might have on his policies.
It's certainly something to watch. His appointment could signal a focus on teacher training, curriculum reform, or addressing issues like educational inequality in Indonesia. These are all areas where his on-the-ground experience could be invaluable.
And what about higher education? Satrio Sumantri Brajanegoro is taking on the role of Minister of Education, Higher, Science, and Technology. His background caught my eye. Talk about a fascinating blend of expertise.
Now, Brajanegoro is an interesting case. He comes from a family with deep roots in Indonesian politics, but his own background is in engineering and economics.
So he understands both the technical side of things and the economic realities of higher education.
Exactly.
What kind of possibilities does that open up?
It could be huge.
Ah,
We might see a real push towards STEM fields,
Yeah.
science, technology, engineering, math,
right.
a focus on research and development, maybe even a more digital-focused approach to higher education.
Okay, so that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Connecting the dots between someone's background and then what they might do in that position.
absolutely.
It's like a puzzle,
It is.
trying to see the bigger picture.
And speaking of puzzles,
Okay.
the new Minister of Transportation, Duty Puragandi, this one really has people talking.
Oh, yeah, Duty, his background isn't exactly what you'd expect for transportation minister, right?
Not quite your typical transportation guru.
Not at all.
Puragandi made his name in logistics.
Logistics.
Yeah.
Okay, so break that down for me.
So think about it. Logistics is all about efficiency, moving things around smoothly, making sure everything's connected.
Right.
Puragandi built his success on that, on innovation, and on a deep understanding of Indonesia's infrastructure.
So we're talking about someone who knows how to get things done.
Exactly.
Someone who understands the nuts and bolts of how things move, literally, in Indonesia.
And that's crucial, right? Transportation is the backbone of any economy, especially one as geographically diverse as Indonesia.
Absolutely. You've got to move goods, you've got to move people, and you've got to do it efficiently.
Precisely.
So what's that appointment telling us? What do you think Subianto's going for here?
Well, it could be a sign that Subianto is really serious about streamlining supply chains,
Okay.
improving connectivity, making it easier for businesses to operate, for people to travel,
Yeah.
and maybe even bringing a fresh perspective to a sector that's often seen as, a little bit stuck in its ways.
Right. It's not always the most innovative sector,
Exactly.
but it's so essential for growth.
It is.
So bringing someone in with a different perspective,
It'd be a really smart move.
yeah, could shake things up. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here today.
We have.
We've talked about the big guns, the coordinating ministers,
The power player.
the power players, and we've also dug into some of these new faces,
The rising stars.
the rising stars, who are stepping into minister roles for the very first time.
It's an exciting time for Indonesian politics.
It really is. And you know what? I think we both got a lot to think about after this deep dive.
Oh, absolutely. I'm already scribbling down notes, trying to connect the dots, see what patterns emerge.
It's like we're piecing together a puzzle, right?
Exactly.
And we've only just started to see the bigger picture.
And that's the fun part. It's going to be fascinating to see how this all plays out over the next 5 years.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's like we always say, these cabinet appointments, they're not just names on a piece of paper.
Right.
These are the people who are going to be making decisions that affect the lives of millions of Indonesians.
Absolutely. Everything from education to healthcare to infrastructure.
Exactly. So, yeah, I'd say we've got a lot to keep an eye on.
We definitely do. And you know what? It's not just about the ministers themselves.
Right.
It's about how they work together as a team.
Oh, the dynamics, the alliances?
Exactly. Who's going to be the rising star? Who's going to butt heads with the president? It's going to be fascinating.
It's like a political drama unfolding right before our eyes.
Yeah, we've got front row seats.
We do. So to all our listeners out there, we want to hear from you. What do you think about President Subianto's new cabinet? Which appointments have you scratching your head? Which ones are you excited about?
Hit us up on social media, send us an email. Let's keep this conversation going.
Absolutely, because here at The Deep Dive, we're all about diving deep, analyzing the news, and trying to make sense of it all.
And we can't do it without you.
That's right. So until next time, keep those thinking caps on, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next Deep Dive.